Nice of you to drop in.
Hello people, I'm NeuroComicBookGamer, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 5 favorite superhero movies of all time. So of course, let's start off with number 5. Now this pick is a bit of a cheapskate, you could say, because of the fact that I am choosing the Wolverine director's cut. Yes, director's cut, because the theatrical version would definitely not be number 5. But the director's cut definitely brings the film up a bit and makes it a much more enjoyable experience for me. The ending's still trash and leaves a bad taste in your mouth, but leading up to that point, the movie's great. Wolverine and Marco have this really cool sort of Han Solo and Princess Leia relationship going on. I really like that when he's trying to protect her and everything, and like they got a really good relationship going there. And then the fight scenes are great, like they're really well choreographed, and James Mangold is a great director, and I love the way the action scenes are filmed and everything, especially like with the blood and claws in the director's cut, because you know it's a director's cut, so they're able to show whatever they want. And you see like Wolverine's claws go straight through a guy and stuff. And what's really cool also is Wolverine's not fighting like an idiot. You see the funeral fight scene is my favorite fight scene in the entire movie. You see Wolverine thinking with his head, because he's like, oh crap, I don't have my healing factor anymore, you know, I've got to I've got to think smart. By the way, I forgot to mention this earlier, but there will be spoilers for every single movie I bring up. All these movies are have been out for a while, so you know it doesn't really matter, but I figured I'd warn you guys now. Anyways, the Wolverine is great. I love it. If you guys have not seen the director's cut, you definitely need to. The theatrical version does not do it justice, but the director's cut adds some stuff. For instance, at the end, when Wolverine's like, screw you, pretty boy, and then he just starts sprinting for no apparent reason, well, in the director's cut, he actually kills all of those ninjas instead of just running away like a chicken. In the director's cut, he kills all those ninjas, and he leaves the ninjas alive that are on the rooftops, because it makes no sense for him to climb up there and kill every single one while Marco could be getting killed or tortured or something. So he kills all the ninjas on the ground and then starts running, so it makes sense, and it's a really cool fight there. So yeah, the Wolverine director's cut is number 5. Number 4 is Iron Man 1. Now, this started the whole MCU. We got the Marvel Cinematic Universe because of this movie, and it brought Robert Downey Jr. out of, you know, the sort of hole he had dug himself, and made him a household name, well, again, sort of, and he's just great as Iron Man. The man was born to play Iron Man, and this movie is fantastic. It's one of the few Marvel movies that doesn't follow the same formula, the same tropes, and it doesn't have a sucky villain. Now, a lot of people did not like Obadiah, but I loved him. I thought he was great as Warmonger. Like, I love Jeff Bridges. To me, killed it, and he's one of my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe villains. I know that's not saying much because the majority of the villains suck, but still, I thought he did a great job. He was imposing. I would have liked to seen a little more of him, but like, he was a creepy dude. When he walked in there and turned on that gadget that like paralyzed his enemies, that was so awesome. And that fight at the end was great, and just Iron Man figuring out, well, Tony Stark figuring out how to build that suit and everything. In that beginning moment with Jensen, like, so sad how Jensen died. Like, that was the only death in Marvel that I think I've actually been like sad about, because, well, no one else dies in Marvel, but you know what I mean. Like, when Jensen died, I was so sad. I was like, why you gotta kill Jensen? But it was great. It added depth to the movie, and it was just a fantastic movie that started the MCU, and I wish Marvel would get back to this, because to me, the tone was perfect. It was funny, while at the same time there was a sense of danger. There wasn't near as many cliches as there are in like the present Marvel movies. I freaking loved it, and it was fantastic, and I really do hope Marvel can get back to this sort of a formula of Marvel movies instead of the same thing we've been getting over and over and over and over and over again that we're currently getting. But yeah, Iron Man 1, fantastic, and it's my number 4. Number 3 is a movie that came out 11 years ago, and that is SpiderMan 2. It's hard to believe that this movie came out 11 years ago. Man, that's just weird. But Spider-Man 2 is fantastic. It's amazing. It's spectacular in every single way, pretty much. The only gripes I really had with it was the fact that I hated Mary Jane throughout this series. Like, I felt like Kristen Dunst did a pretty bad job acting-wise with her. Aunt May, I was never a big fan of the actress who played her either, or the way she was. Just didn't really care for Aunt May. But besides that, it was fantastic. Everything. J. Jonah Jameson. My God, the man who played him was born to play J. Jonah Jameson. That guy, absolutely perfect for the role. Like, just, he did great. And then Dr. Octopus is one of the best villains to ever appear in a superhero movie. He made you feel sorry for him. He made you see why he was doing what he did. And I was just like, oh, come on, can you guys not punch each other for a bit? Of course, when I first saw the movie, I was just like, punch the crap out of Spider-Man. But when you watch it when you get older, it's like, oh, I feel so sorry for him. Come on, guys, just figure out a solution. Then in the end, when he sacrifices himself, it's like, oh man, this movie though, it's just got some great fight scenes as well, such as the train fight, which everyone knows is one of the best fights in any superhero movie ever. Tobey Maguire, to me, killed it as Peter Parker. He was great Spider-Man as well. To me, that was the writing's fault, not his, as far as Spider-Man went, because he's not the one writing the jokes. It's not his fault. And Peter Parker, he was great. One of the things I didn't care for the movie was when he loses his powers because he can't focus because of Mary Jane. I wasn't a big fan of that aspect, but besides that and what I mentioned earlier, I love this movie. It's great. It's so good. It's so nostalgic too to go back and watch it, because I watched it growing up, and you have Spider-Man trying to stop Dr. Ock when he's robbing a bank, and then they climb up a building and he's fighting him. It's just like, how is that not awesome? It is awesome. It's fantastic. And just Spider-Man 2, it has a very special place in my heart, and definitely one of the best superhero movies ever made. Number 2 is The Dark Knight. Now, I know this is a lot of people's numbers ones, but this is my number 2, and I love this movie to pieces. It's great. It's just like astounding to see all this stuff happen. From the opening of the bank robbing, that was so cool looking. And then you find out it's Joker, and it's like, man, that's great. Now, one of the things I will say about this movie is, to me, Joker was overrated. I loved Heath Ledger's Joker. He was a good Joker, but I wasn't like, oh, he's the best villain ever in a superhero movie. To me, I thought Dr. Octopus was a better villain than him, but Heath Ledger did a good job, but I did not think he was just like this fantastic, amazing Joker, but I did think he did a good job. Anyways, getting that out of the way, the rest of this movie is just spectacular. I love it so much, and all the different things. Christian Bale is a great Batman. Say whatever you want about his crappy Batman voice, he is a great Batman, and he is a spot-on Bruce Wayne, the best Bruce Wayne we've ever had. He just knows how to be Bruce Wayne. He knows how to be that jerk billionaire playboy, and it's just, he was perfect for the role. And not only does this movie look great because Christopher Nolan directed it, but it sounds great because Hans Zimmer did the theme and all the music for it. Hans Zimmer is he's like the second coming of John Williams. He's not quite John Williams, but he is a great composer, and Hans Zimmer did a great job with the Dark Knight soundtrack. To me, it doesn't get enough credit. A lot of people are just like, oh, it's a bunch of blah, but it really is good. If you go back and listen to the Dark Knight soundtrack, it's a really good soundtrack. And again, Christopher Nolan, he knows how to make good movies. He's made a living off of it. He's fantastic at it, and this movie is astounding in every way. I loved it. It was a great movie. It had Batman being Batman. We got to see him do all these, of course he wasn't exactly the martial artist Batman was, but it was cool seeing him use all of these gadgets and stuff, even if it didn't make too much sense, such as the whole bullet analysis thing. But still, I love how complex this movie was too. It didn't treat the viewer like, hey, you're here to see a comic book movie, you must be an idiot. It treated you like you were a smart person watching a movie. I love that. It didn't treat you like an idiot. So I thought that was great, and just Dark Knight's my second favorite superhero movie of all time. It's fantastic, and I love it. Number 1 is Man of Steel. Now, if you guys don't watch my channel, you probably did not know Man of Steel is coming, because a lot of people hate it, but to me, I love it. It's the perfect representation of Superman. It's not a perfect movie, however. There are some problems I have with it, such as I wasn't a big fan of the way Lois Lane was used in certain aspects. I thought it was kind of stupid how she figured out who Superman was and the military couldn't, and I didn't like how she figured out who Superman was, because I prefer, Clark Kent and Lois Lane, that whole relationship. And also, I didn't care for how Jonathan Kent died. I thought it was kind of stupid, because I would have much rather preferred a heart attack, because that's something Superman can't stop, to where when it came to tornado, Superman could have, just he didn't, because Jonathan told him not to. So wasn't a big fan of that. But besides that, love this movie in every single way. It's so remarkable, and this movie fills me with such awe whenever I watch it. I get this feeling that I don't get with any other movie when I watch it. I'm filled with such hope, and I feel like I'm a kid again and everything when I watch it, and it's great. Like, I get this feeling that I can't really explain, but I don't get it when I watch other movies, especially when Superman flies for the first time. That scene is one of the best scenes in superhero movie history, in my opinion. It's great. Superman taking off flying. He's got this smile on his face. He's like, holy crap, I'm flying. And then finally, he figures out how to fly and everything, and that's great. And the flashbacks are so cool. I love how grand how grand everything is in this movie. The flashbacks, I thought, added a lot to the character, and I liked how they did that origin, because they're like, you know what, everyone knows the origin of Superman. Let's change it up a bit by adding flashbacks, so that way, you can see stuff. And they even ripped a ton of stuff straight out of the comics, such as that whole scene where Jonathan Kent is like, you're not from here, and then Clark says, can I just keep pretending to be your son? And Jonathan says, I am, you are my son. Well, that whole part is ripped straight out of Secret Origin. I mean, Secret Origin, like, they quoted it almost completely, and I love that. And then they took stuff from Superman Birthright. This movie is the most true to the comic Superman of any Superman movie of all time, and one of the most true to comics superhero movies of any superhero movie. And I thought that was great. I love the fact that they pulled so much from source material. The fight scenes, dear God, the fight scenes, so great. Get chills every time I watch, like, Superman flying around punching Zod, just so cool. Smallville fight scene, great, and so good. And it's just such a splendid fight scene, seeing Superman go around and have to fight two opponents at once. And it's a Superman, the only advantage he has is the fact that he knows how to use his powers better than they do, and it's like, oh, how's this gonna go down, because they're so much better trained. And then the final fight between Zod and Superman in Man of Steel, in Metropolis, was just, it was thrilling. It was a stunning fight. I loved it. And one of the things I will say about that is the fact that, you knew Superman wasn't going to die as his first movie, but one thing that I, really wondered was, how's Superman going to beat Zod? I did not know that. Going into this, I was like, how's Superman going to beat Zod? What are they going to do? Because these guys keep pounding on each other with their fists, and it's not working. Nothing's happening. What's gonna go down? And then he kills Zod, and to me, the best scene in superhero movie history. I know that a lot of people don't agree with me there, but that's what I believe. And he kills him, and you see all this emotion. To everyone that says Henry Cavill was terrible as Superman, that scene, all the emotion that is displayed there from Henry Cavill, from the fact that he had to kill the last remaining Kryptonian besides himself, it was great. How he did that, that was such a wonderful, impressive performance from Henry Cavill right there. And I can't wait to see him more as Superman. And just this movie, I love it to death. It's the greatest superhero movie of all time, in my opinion. I'm a huge Superman fan. It's my favorite superhero movie. And we finally got a true Superman movie with this. And so, of course, it's my favorite. And I made a whole 45-minute podcast talking about how much I love Man of Steel and defending it in certain ways, because a lot of people attack it and think it's like a terrible movie. But, yeah. Those are just my top 5 favorite superhero movies of all time. Please, I really do want to hear your guys'. Please let me know in the comments below, what are your guys' top 5 favorite superhero movies of all time. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like.